Valentine's Day. Yeah, for some, it's all about the Hallmark cards, the chocolates, those cheesy romantic dinners.
Yeah,
But our listeners, they're curious about something deeper. They want to know, is there a spiritual side to all this lovey-dovey stuff?
you're telling me. We've got a mountain of source material here, and it's fascinating stuff. Definitely not your average Valentine's Day fare.
I got a sneak peek, and let me tell you, we are going deep.
Ah.
Universal love, chakras, even forgiveness.
Mm.
Who knew, right?
It's amazing how much richer this whole Valentine's Day thing becomes when you start looking beyond the commercial stuff, the historical and spiritual roots. That's where the real magic is.
So are we ditching the roses and diving headfirst into, like,
E-
universal love?
Exactly. It's not just about romantic love, right? Valentine's Day at its core, it's about tapping into a love that's way bigger than just you and your partner. Think about the love between friends, family, even love for humanity as a whole.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Widening the lens, right. Instead of that narrow focus on romantic love, it's about embracing something much more expansive. But what does that actually look like in practice? Like, how do we cultivate this universal love? It feels kind of abstract.
It starts with understanding unconditional love. Loving without limits, without expecting anything in return. Imagine a love that isn't dependent on someone else's actions or behavior. A love that simply is.
I mean, that's a beautiful thought, but honestly, it feels like a pretty high bar to reach.
Yeah.
How do we even begin to cultivate that kind of boundless love in our everyday lives?
It doesn't happen overnight, right? It's not like you wake up one morning and suddenly feel this overwhelming love for everyone you meet. It's about small, consistent actions, little things, like practicing a loving kindness meditation. That's where you intentionally send out positive energy, compassion to yourself and others. Or maybe doing something nice for someone else, just because, no expectation of anything in return. These little things, they might seem insignificant, but they create these ripples of love that extend way beyond ourselves.
So it's less about grand gestures and more about weaving those threads of love into the everyday.
Exactly. And speaking of weaving things in, this leads us to another crucial aspect of a spiritually fulfilling Valentine's Day: self-love.
Self-love. Okay, now that's not something you typically see on a Valentine's Day card, right next to the cupids and chocolates.
I know, right? It might seem a little unexpected, but it's so important. This Valentine's Day, think about it as giving yourself the gift of recognizing your own inherent worthiness. You are worthy of love just as you are.
Now that's a Valentine's Day gift I can get behind. It's like we often prioritize showering others with love on Valentine's Day, but forget to direct some of that love and appreciation inward.
Exactly. And it's not selfish at all. Cultivating self-love is essential, I'd say, for our spiritual and emotional well-being. When we nurture that inner sense of love and acceptance, it naturally spills over into our relationships with others, making them stronger, more authentic.
It makes sense, right? You can't pour from an empty cup.
Hmm.
But how do we actually fill our own cups with self-love, especially amidst the everyday chaos of life?
It starts with paying attention to that inner voice. How often are you speaking to yourself with kindness, with compassion? Instead of focusing on your flaws, what if you celebrated your strengths instead? And don't underestimate the power of self-care. What makes you feel nourished, both physically and mentally? Maybe it's a walk in nature, a long bath, or just giving yourself permission to unplug for a bit. Whatever it is, make time for it.
Those are great practical tips. I'm already feeling a bit more relaxed just thinking about it. When we talk about self-love and universal love, it makes me think about the interconnectedness of it all, how everything is connected. We've touched on this idea before, but I'm curious to go a little deeper.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy to get caught up in the Hallmark version of Valentine's Day, right? All those images of individual couples, romantic dinners. But the real heart of Valentine's Day, the spiritual aspect, it encourages us to recognize the interconnectedness that binds us all. It's a beautiful thing.
You know what it's like? It's like underneath all those cheesy Valentine's Day commercials with the
Mhm.
heart-shaped pizzas and
Oh,
everything.
yeah, those commercials.
There's this subtle reminder that we're all connected in this grand web of existence. But how does this whole interconnectedness thing relate to love, especially on Valentine's Day? I'm not sure I totally get it. It's like we often see love as this thing, this separate force outside of ourselves, when really it's like you said, woven into everything.
Exactly. And it's when we recognize that, our shared humanity, that's when love really takes root. We start to see ourselves in other people? And that's where empathy and compassion come from.
Like we're all these individual instruments playing in this big orchestra, and love is the music that brings it all together.
I love that. And speaking of connections, this leads us to a really interesting concept: Sacred union. We usually think of it in terms of romantic love, but there's a fascinating spiritual side to it too.
Oh, yeah, the romance. Can't forget about that on Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah.
Sacred union. That's a new one. Tell me more about that.
So a lot of spiritual traditions, they see romantic love as more than just a feeling or, something we made up. They see it as a reflection of this deeper divine connection.
So you're saying the love we experience here in the physical world, it can give us a glimpse into something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the sacred in the everyday, how two people coming together can reflect this universal harmony. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It really is. Okay, so we've got universal love, self-love, interconnectedness, and now sacred union. It's incredible how much we're uncovering here, and it feels like we're just getting started. What else is there to discover in this Valentine's Day deep dive?
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about gratitude. It's a powerful force when it comes to experiencing a truly meaningful Valentine's Day.
You mentioned gratitude earlier, and I'm curious, how does it all connect? I get that being grateful feels good, but how does that tie into love, especially on Valentine's Day?
Gratitude has this amazing ability to change our perspective. It helps us to really see and appreciate the love that's already in our lives, no matter what challenges we might be facing.
So instead of focusing on what's missing, maybe the perfect date or the expensive gifts, we're appreciating the love that's right in front of us.
Exactly. It could be the support of a good friend, the love of a pet, or even just sharing a laugh with someone you care about. Gratitude lets us savor those moments and realize that love, in all its forms, is all around us. We just have to open our eyes and see it.
So maybe instead of stressing about finding the perfect Valentine's Day gift, we should be focusing on telling the people in our lives how much they mean to us.
Yeah.
Just expressing that gratitude.
Exactly. It really doesn't have to be complicated. A handwritten note, a phone call, even just a genuine compliment can mean the world to someone.
It's about the thought behind it, right? The genuine expression of love and appreciation. And not getting caught up in all the commercial stuff. Okay, gratitude. Check. What's next on our Valentine's Day adventure? This is where we get into the really fascinating stuff, right? The chakras.
You got it. We're about to explore the world of energy centers and how they relate to love. And since it's Valentine's Day, we're going to zero in on the one that's all about matters of the heart chakra.
All right, let's get mystical. For those of us who might not be chakra experts, what exactly is this heart chakra, and what does it have to do with love?
Okay, heart chakra energy centers. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little out of my depth here. Can you break it down for me? What's the heart chakra all about?
Picture this. A swirling energy center right in the middle of your chest, that's your heart chakra. It's like the bridge between your emotions, your feelings, and the energy of the world around you.
So Valentine's Day is basically a workout for our heart chakras. I'm in. But seriously, how does it all work? Well, it's not just about romantic love, although that's a big part of it. It's about compassion, empathy, your ability to both give and receive love in all its forms. When your heart chakra is open and balanced, you feel connected, joyful, you radiate warmth.
Okay, I like where this is going. But what about when it's blocked? Asking for a friend.
Well, you might feel closed off, judgmental, maybe even physically feel tightness in your chest. It can make it hard to form those genuine connections.
So Valentine's Day is coming up. How do we give our heart chakras a little extra love, especially with all those emotions flying around?
It's simpler than you think. Remember we talked about gratitude. That's huge for activating your heart chakra. Random acts of kindness, whether it's for someone you love or a complete stranger, those go a long way too. Even just spending time in nature can help you reconnect with that sense of universal love, which does wonders for your heart chakra.
So everything we've been talking about, self-love, gratitude, even forgiveness, it all ties back to the heart chakra.
Exactly. It's all connected. And that brings us to something that might seem a little out of place on Valentine's Day, but it's so powerful. Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Okay, now you're really throwing me for a loop. Valentine's Day is about love, not letting go of grudges, right? How does that fit in?
I know, it seems a little counterintuitive, but forgiveness is actually deeply connected to love. See, when we hold on to anger, resentment, those old hurts, it creates blockages in our heart chakras. And those blockages, they make it harder to experience the fullness of love.
So all that negativity, it's like building a wall around your heart,
Yeah.
making it harder to give and receive love freely.
Exactly. And remember, forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about letting go of the pain, releasing the grip it has on you so you can experience more love, more joy, more peace.
It's like they say, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness is an act of self-love.
It really is.
Hmm.
And it's a gift you give yourself, especially on Valentine's Day. Imagine letting go of those old hurts, creating space for love and compassion to flow in. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. This whole deep dive into Valentine's Day has been incredible. It's amazing how all these ideas, universal love, chakras, forgiveness, they all fit together to paint a much bigger, more meaningful picture of what this day can be.
That's the beauty of digging a little deeper, right? You start to see the connections and you realize that love at its core is this incredible force. It can heal, it can help you grow, and it connects us all.
Absolutely. So for someone listening who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all this talk of chakras and universal love, what's the most important thing to remember? What's that one thing they can take away from all of this?
For me, it comes down to this. Love is a choice. It's not just something that happens to us, it's something we cultivate, something we actively choose to create and share with the world.
I love that. So instead of waiting for love to find us, we can choose to be creators of love, starting with ourselves.
Exactly. Whether it's practicing self-compassion, being grateful for the people in our lives, or choosing forgiveness, we have the power to make love a bigger part of our lives, not just on Valentine's Day, but every single day.
It's like we're reclaiming Valentine's Day. No more cheesy greeting cards and expectations. It's about celebrating love in its purest form.
That's it. And remember, it's a journey, not a race. Be kind to yourself, celebrate those small victories, and always remember, you are worthy of love.
What a beautiful way to end this deep dive. It's been amazing exploring the spiritual side of Valentine's Day with you. I think our listeners are walking away with a lot to think about.
Me too. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. And to everyone listening, keep those heart chakras open. And remember, love is always out there, and it's within you, just waiting to be discovered. Until next time, keep exploring.